Wayne and Holmes County, Ohio, home to the largest population of Amish in the United States.
The Amish came to the American Midwest about 250 years ago, fleeing religious persecution in Europe.
They exist without electricity, plumbing, and many things we take for granted.
So their life is still pretty much as it has been for more than 200 years.
They feel that they can be closer to God if they don't have the conveniences that we have.
Within this low-crime community, there are only 2 reported murders among the Amish in America in more than 250 years. Eli Weaver and Barbara Miller are born into the Andy Weaver sect of the Amish and meet as teenagers.
The Andy Weaver sect is one of the most conservative of the Amish sects. There are several different groups within the Amish in Ohio.
The churches aren't structured, but every week they take turns and meet in barns. They follow the Bible's instruction not to be conformed with the world and protect themselves from outside influences, such as radio, TV, and the internet. No modern technology is allowed, no computers or even cell phones. In this community, there is group access to one shared telephone in a shanty-style booth.
The phone booth is one that they use regularly for their calls. It's not just an emergency, but it's like neighbors share the phone.
As well as no modern technology, an Amish person may only drive a horse and buggy. So if they require a car ride, they are allowed to hire what they term an English driver.
That's just their way of distinguishing between other people and people who are like them. Then they say like the English or the Mennonites when they're referring to a driver to come and pick them up.
Eli and Barbara get to know each other as teens over Sunday meals, barn raisings, or when somebody is married.
The Amish are what are called Anabaptists. They believe that everybody has an individual right to decide if they're going to become baptized and stay in the Amish community.
The couple become close during Rumspringa, the time in an Amish youth's teenage life when they are allowed to experiment.
Rumspringa is the process of a teenage Amish child living English, trying out these things they want to try. It's not too uncommon to have Amish kids involved in a drinking party where there's underage alcohol consumption.
Barbara Weaver was born Barbara Miller, and she had what I think of as a very typical childhood. The way that she spent her Rumspringa years as a teenager was not pushing the boundaries and drinking and driving and carousing, but she would have girlfriends over. They read Amish romance novels, and it was just as innocent as you can imagine. Eli always had a reputation as a troublemaker, even as a child. His mother said that he would want to get away with everything.
Eli Weaver experiments during Rumspringa.
We don't know if this kind of bad boy image appealed to Barbara Miller. She must have seen something in him that she thought would make a good husband and father, because that's what they're looking for.
If you decide to not become Amish after Rumspringa, you must part from your family. You can still see each other occasionally, but you're giving up a lot.
I believe it's a way to not have anybody living Amish who doesn't want to be.
Eli and Barbara choose to stay with their families and community. They get baptized, and then, after a short courtship, wed.
Eli and Barbara were very young when they got married, about 20 years old, and they would have had a ceremony in the Sunday barn and a big lunch afterwards.
They have 5 children and firmly settle into the traditional Amish way of life.
It's important to keep things within the Amish community because they don't want to live like the rest of us. They honor their faith by living separately.
The Weavers moved to Maysville in Wayne County to be closer to Barbara's family. It's there that Eli goes on to open a hunting business. He also works as a hunting guide.
He carried fishing rods and shotguns and everything that the hunter and fisherman needed. That was a really great idea for him because he wasn't a farmer. It was something that he had interest and expertise in.
His business is successful, and Eli and Barbara raise their children and live the typical Amish life. June 2nd, 2009. Barbara sleeps alone in the wee hours of the morning. Only her and the children in the house. Sometime later, an armed intruder enters the Weaver household through the unlocked door. As a thunderstorm rages outside, the lurker moves slowly through the Weaver household in search of something or someone. The sound of the storm masks the stranger's footfall. The ultimate destination is the master bedroom. Barbara Weaver is asleep when the intruder enters. The morning of June 2nd, one of the Weaver children tries to wake his mother up, but can't.
She was wearing a nightgown and she was lying on her right side and there was a huge wound in her chest.
He runs to a neighbor's house and tells her his mother won't wake up and her feet are cold.
She then went to the community telephone and called the sheriff's office.
911, do you have emergency?
Yes, we do. Person not responding.
Did you know the person's breathing?
No. Okay, she's breathing.
I had no idea what was going on, but I happened to glance back down the alley and I saw 3 sheriff's cars. And I said, what on earth is going on back there? And then her sisters told me that Barbara had been found unresponsive and bloody, and everyone was just in shock.
It's inconceivable to friends and neighbors that the young, vibrant, and peace-loving Barbara Weaver, a pillar of the Amish community, is dead. And the question everyone is asking, where is Barbara's husband, Eli?
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. And if you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. All these plans include a Healthy Options allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items, like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. Other benefits on these plans include free rides to and from your medical appointments. You pay nothing for covered prescriptions all year long. All plans have dental coverage, which includes 2 free cleanings a year, fillings, and a yearly exam. They also have vision coverage, including vision exams and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts, and hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing tests and coverage for hearing aids. You'll also have a $0 copay for the shingles and other routine vaccines at in-network retail pharmacies. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance? To help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Have you ever considered getting a walk-in tub? Well, look no further. Safe Step's best offer just got better. Now, when you purchase your brand new Safe Step walk-in tub, you'll receive a free shower package. Yes, a free shower package. And if you call today, you'll also receive 15% off your entire order. Now you can enjoy the best of both worlds, the therapeutic benefits of a warm, soothing bath that can help increase mobility, relieve pain, boost energy, and even improve sleep. Or, if you prefer, you can take a refreshing shower all in one product. Call now to receive a free shower package plus 15% off your brand new Safe Step walk-in tub.
Call now, 1-800-346-6061. There's never been a better time. That's 1-800-346-6061.
Prescription eyewear can be really expensive. But here's a secret. Glasses don't actually cost that much to make. Surprise! Especially when you design your own eyewear and then sell it directly to your customers. Like we do. Oh, hi. We're Warby Parker. Our glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. And the best part? You can try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
This is an urgent notice about ovarian cancer. If you or a loved one were recently diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using Johnson & Johnson baby powder products, you may be entitled to a large cash settlement. Plaintiffs' attorneys claim Johnson & Johnson knew their products could cause ovarian cancer, but kept the product on the shelf until 2020. Call Legal Injury Advocates now to see if you qualify.
Call 1-800-453-1133 or visit lia.legal. That's 1-800-453-1133.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what Grandpa used to play.
When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it,
making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-921-4979. That's 1-800-921-4979.
In the tight-knit Amish community of Wayne County, Ohio, the ultra-conservative Andy Weaver sect has strict rules of conduct that all members adhere to. Eli and Barbara Weaver marry young, have a large family, and live the typical Amish life. But in the early morning of June 2nd, 2009, while Barbara is alone at home with the children, someone sneaks into the house and fires a shotgun at the sleeping figure in Eli's bedroom. In the morning, Barbara Weaver can't be roused.
The children went to the next door neighbor and asked for help. They said, I think my mom's dead, and the neighbor didn't want to believe it. She came over and then she discovered that she had been shot, and she went to the phone booth then to call for help.
Police and ambulance arrive on the scene. Deputies secure the house. Barbara Weaver is non-responsive. Authorities quickly learn from the neighbors that the couple's marriage is not an easy one, but the Amish are a non-violent people, so it seems extremely unlikely that this incident involves the Amish.
Murder in this among the Amish is really unusual and very rare.
So a crime this serious occurring to an Amish person is certainly news. It's very unusual. Occurring to an Amish woman makes it even more unusual.
The Weaver home is examined for clues by authorities. At 11:30 a.m., the coroner arrives. Barbara Weaver is officially pronounced dead.
A burglary was pretty easy to rule out. Initially, there was nothing touched in the house. There were valuables that were out. It appeared to be somebody walked in the house, shot Barbara Weaver, and walked out and walked past valuables both times.
Police discovered that at 3 a.m. that morning, Eli leaves with a party of friends for a fishing trip. Eli is contacted through the driver, who, being non-Amish, has a cell phone. Eli isn't given much information, but is told that his wife Barbara is non-responsive.
Between Eli and the men he was fishing with, they learned that something's happened. And so they stop and form a small prayer circle.
The group packs up their fishing gear and hurries back to Maysville.
Eli's friend Steve is driving them back to town, and the sheriff's deputy calls Steve, the driver. And Steve says, well, I'm just going to take Eli home. And the sheriff's deputies say, no, you're coming right to the sheriff's office. And you're not dropping Eli anywhere.
When Eli returns, he meets with detectives and gives a statement. Eli denies any involvement in his wife's death. Eli tells detectives that his wife helps him get ready for his fishing trip when he oversleeps, and that's the last time he sees her alive.
It's my belief the spouse is the suspect in 90% of the cases and is probably guilty of the murder in 95% of the cases. And I remember telling him, but at the same time I was informed that he had an alibi. He was nowhere near the scene of the murder.
Police want to do a lie detector test, but Eli's attorney refuses.
I informed them that I believed I had an innocent client. We would not be doing that test today, but I thought he would be cooperating fully in their investigation to help them find the person that did it.
His alibi appears to be airtight. Eli signs papers permitting the search of his house and business.
They, after a while, took him home and had him change his clothes so they could take his clothes. They tested his hands for gunshot residue. There was nothing.
Investigators have the projectile that killed Barbara Weaver, but no murder weapon.
A lot of times we get the gun. A lot of times we don't. A lot of times the gun disappears, and all we have is the bullet, possibility of what guns fired it, and that's it. We don't have nothing else.
Police collect 2 .410 gauge shotguns from Eli's gun shop. Examination of a firearm can include the rifling, which may reveal the brand or model of the firearm that fired a bullet.
Rifling characteristics. Every gun has it. Inside the barrel, you have cutouts that are called glands and grooves.
But inside, most shotgun barrels are a smoothbore, non-rifled surface.
Those shotguns, they have no ballistic value unless you have a shell casing. But when you have no rifling involved, there's no ballistic value with that particular firearm.
But what police notice in Eli's gun shop is that there's a box of .410 slugs with 1 slug missing. June 3rd, the day after the murder, phone messages are checked at the community phone booth, which is located just outside of Eli's store. One new voicemail from an unidentified male states, Eli, you can run, but you can't hide. Obviously, we got the wrong person last night.
They were trying to aim at him and they got his wife instead.
This message is interesting to police because Eli admits a secret to them in his interview.
When the police were questioning him, he had admitted that he had an affair with other women.
Did Eli's affairs turn dangerous and inadvertently catch his wife in the crossfire?
Someone was trying to kill Eli, walked into a dark room. If you think about it, there's no electricity in an Amish home. There's no lights to turn on. Went into the master bedroom and shot the body in the bed.
Eli's lovers could be the key to the murder.
There was a lot of roads to go down in the investigation, a lot of angles to look at as the defense counsel here to try to figure out, 1, how to represent my client, but 2, how to assist law enforcement in finding the person that did this.
As the investigation heats up, initially the Amish people who know the Weavers are quiet.
The Amish were told not to talk about it because they tend to be very clannish and circle the wagons whenever they feel like they're being attacked.
But soon, people will start to talk, and authorities will be led deep into the untold secrets of Amish country.
I have PCOS, It can cause unexplainable weight gain. Having to go through Weight Watchers Clinic and now taking a GLP-1, you just feel that extra level of support. And I'm like 2 pounds away from my goal weight, which is like...
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on getting you the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. But don't worry, we've got a lot more than that going for us. Woo! Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want with space-age metal housing, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have flip phones like the Iris Flip. If you're someone that doesn't need all that mumbo-jumbo and just wants something simple. And now, we even have watches.
We do.
No matter what device you choose, you'll be happy to know that if your data needs change,
No problem.
with our Smart Flex feature, you don't have to sweat it. Like say you're on a road trip out west and end up using a bunch of data. We can simply flex you up to the next data tier for as little as $5. Then, when you get home, you can flex right back down with no penalty, so you only pay for what you actually need.
With Consumer Cellular, you get the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost.
I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Will our award-winning customer service help me switch over or add a line for $15 to make my own family plan?
Of course they will.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
You see that tower out there? It's a beauty. And there are thousands more like it, working hard for me and you, supplying 5G coverage to this beautiful nation of ours. We know how important coverage is. That's why we offer a risk-free guarantee. If you're not satisfied within 30 days of activation, you can pay nothing. Oh, look.
New customers save $50 when you sign up today. Call 800-311-5340. Find us in Target or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's the 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Wow. So sudden. We're not about to have the we need life insurance conversation again, are we?
No, we're having the we're getting coverage so we don't have to worry about it conversation.
So you're calling about the $9.95 a month plan from Colonial Penn?
I am. We put it off long enough. We are getting that $9.95 plan today.
Is it time for you to call about the $9.95 plan? I'm Jonathan from Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. Sometimes we just need a reminder not to take today for granted. It could be the death of someone you know or a health scare. That's why today could be a great day to call for free information about Colonial Penn's $9.95 plan. If you're age 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance starting at just $9.95 a month. There are no health questions, so you can't be turned down for any health reason. This is permanent coverage. Just pay your premiums for lifelong security. The $9.95 plan is Colonial Penn's #1 most popular whole life plan. Options start at just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate can never go up. It's locked in for life. Don't put it off. Take the first easy step. Call today for free information. And you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. So call now.
Call 1-800-685-1515 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-685-1515. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-685-1515. 1-800-685-1515. Call now.
Hello, Colonial Penn?
All right, time to do some selling. That's going towards rent. Oh yeah, that's going towards girls' night. And that's going towards a new bag.
Your closet is worth more than you realize. Download the Poshmark app and start cashing in today.
When you get approved with Drive Time, you get the real deal.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker. Lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
That's super smart. And the deal you make on your phone is the deal you pay. You make the deal yourself.
Get the real deal video at drivetime.com.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
Barbara Weaver, a young Amish wife and mother, is found shot dead in her bed. Her husband Eli confesses he is restless in the marriage. Police would consider him the prime suspect, but Eli leaves on a fishing trip with friends just before the killing and has an airtight alibi. An anonymous message left on the community phone makes it sound like it is Eli and not Barbara Weaver who is the intended target. Forensic experts find the victim, Barbara Weaver, is killed by a single shotgun blast to the right side of her chest.
The forensics people carefully measured the wound and concluded that the shot was made by a .410 gauge shotgun.
Several shotgun pellets are removed from the corpse. They also find bruising on her hands and neck.
They found a lot of powder burns on the blanket that had been covering her and on the nightgown. There was no gunpowder residue on her hands, so it wasn't a self-inflicted wound.
In the wake of the murder, women contact police about Eli Weaver. They claim they meet Eli over a dating chat site. Eli appears to have access to a cell phone and computer, both forbidden to the Amish.
They discovered that he had many more girlfriends than what he had said. He told each one they were the only one, and was really cozy up to one, and then after a while another, and he was just kind of using all of them and not really wanting to attach to anyone in particular. And all the while, he's a married man with 5 children.
Eli's online profile asks, quote, "Who wants to do an Amish guy?"
Eli posted a photograph of himself nude from the waist up and went by the moniker Amish Stud. He attracted a lot of women who were interested in that because, that was forbidden. Barbara's diaries and letters talk about how controlling Eli was, but also very plainly that he wanted a form of sex from her that she wasn't comfortable giving, and that was the main point of contention between them.
As well as multiple affairs, Eli leaves his wife in 2006 to live with a, quote, English woman named Christine. He comes back after 6 months, but 2 weeks later, he leaves his wife and children again. Barbara confides a lot with her sister Fanny.
When Eli found out that Barbara was writing to a counselor and getting letters in return, she had the letters go through Fanny's address so that Eli wouldn't know.
But Eli is unable to leave for long.
He went back to the Amish life, and he would have to have repented to the bishop. And both times, he was forgiven and taken back into the fold.
After his transgressions, the Amish spirit of forgiveness ensures Eli will again enjoy the support of his community.
They had shunned him, excommunicated and shunned him, but then he was welcomed back when he said he wanted to make things right again.
Despite being forgiven, some community members are still suspicious of him. But there is one local person who is with Eli frequently that perhaps no one suspects. Eli previously works in construction, and it's there he meets his co-worker's wife, Barbara Raber.
Barb Raber was raised Amish, but she was living an English lifestyle. She had a husband, she had a couple of children, and part of her employment was to drive Amish around and charge them for the travel.
They at some point began to have sexual encounters in her car or in the woods or in his barn, and she gave him a laptop and she gave him a cell phone.
Through his girlfriends, police learned that not only does Eli have his own cell phone, but that he has murder on his mind.
They were sharing with the detectives that Eli would jokingly say to them, if you see my wife, will you run her down? Or how much would it take to pay somebody to poison my wife?
None of them were interested in doing that.
She knew Eli had been exploring murder methods, and he had asked her if she would help kill his wife, and she was pretty convinced that he'd had a role in the murder.
Detectives want to get more concrete evidence.
She's wearing a wire, a bug, and she's actually left the police station, is in her car when Eli phones. She asks him about what happened to his wife.
She and Eli discuss the murder, though he gives no incriminating information away. Police now have his phone number. They get a subpoena for the phone records and learn that Barbara Raber has been giving Eli some interesting gifts.
She paid for his cell phone and the calls, and eventually she paid for cell phones that Eli was giving to some of his girlfriends.
Meanwhile, police make headway with the mysterious phone call left on the community phone.
It never added up to anything. I think they could tell right away that it was fake. It was a very bad fake call.
It clearly showed, in my mind, a consciousness of guilt, trying to create this smokescreen or a distraction for the investigators.
And the voice is easily identified by people in the community.
They all said, that's David Weaver. And then they went to David Weaver, who said, yes, Barb Raber asked me as a favor for Eli to leave this message.
Barbara Raber's name comes up all too frequently in the investigation.
When it was discovered that Eli had a cell phone with him, they got access to the phone, and they did request the cell phone carrier preserve any text messages and activity on that phone.
Authorities learned that from May 30th to June 2nd, 2009, Barbara Raber and Eli exchanged text messages about methods of murder.
The texts were saying things like what kind of poison would work for her. They were researching that a little bit, and then finally Eli said, I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Graphic texts such as, maybe you could blow up the house. What about your kids? The kids will go to heaven because they're innocent. Alert police to a conspiracy to commit murder.
And then finally they settled on a shotgun. They didn't actually say shotgun, but that was kind of what the implication was. And then Eli said, just go up to the bedroom and get it done.
On June 10th, 2009, detectives arrest both Eli Weaver and Barbara Raber.
When Eli is brought out of the house, his children watching, his legs give way, and he has to lean on the back of the sheriff's car before he gets inside. Almost the same thing with Barbara Raber. Her legs give way, and she's more vocal than Eli is. She says right away, will I have an attorney? Is there an attorney there for me? She also says to the deputies, it doesn't look good, does it?
I was surprised when that happened, but in talking to the officers and looking at the reports, and I saw a little closer, a little more of the picture that they had, and thought their decision probably was justified with what they knew. Then they continued to investigate and really put a pretty solid case together based on circumstantial evidence, but overwhelming circumstantial evidence of Eli and Barbara Raber's guilt.
Barbara Raber admits to police she has an affair with Eli, but insists it ends 6 months earlier. She is adamant she did not commit murder and that she has an alibi.
Barbara said she was home all night and her husband knows that. Her husband was there too.
But Eli says it is his lover, Barbara Raber, who commits the murder.
He continued to point the finger at Barb Raber. He said he didn't know what had happened, but implicated Barb.
The day after Barbara Raber's arrest, she has a change of heart and admits she goes to the Weaver house around 4 in the morning, armed with a 410 gauge shotgun. She says her only intent on the night of the murder is to frighten Barbara Weaver. But then something unexpected happens.
Summer's burning heat is here, and for many animals, help can't come fast enough.
These animals are suffering from rays of sun that they can't escape. They don't have access to any shelter or shade. They're licking the bottom of bowls that have been dry for days. These animals are dying from heat.
For many animals across the country right now, the suffering is excruciating and time is is running out.
There are animals wasting away under the hot sun. No access to shelter, no access to fresh water. They are suffering.
Will you help an animal who's suffering in the burning sun right now? Visit this website, call or scan the code on your screen. Your gift of just $19 a month can be the difference between life and death for an animal this summer.
There are situations in which an animal will lay down and they will give up because that honestly is their better escape from this reality.
And that's why we can't give up and why we need you right this minute before it's too late. 63 cents a day will provide shelter, water, and loving care to an animal who may not survive much longer. Say yes to pulling an animal out of the burning heat today. Join with your monthly gift in the next 5 minutes, and we'll send you this welcome kit and one-of-a-kind t-shirt.
We know it's our responsibility to give them that shelter as soon as possible, to get them that water, to give them that chance to survive.
So please don't wait another second. Help rescue an animal today. Go online, call, or scan right now.
Trying on glasses using Warby Parker's virtual try-on is so lifelike, so realistic, that you might not even be able to tell what's real from what's virtual. Yep, it's that good. Virtually try on hundreds of styles at warbyparker.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. More Vegas action, more casino favorites, and the latest slots. Play Jackpot Party and win amazing surprises just for logging in. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
They were gunned down.
This is a Stone Cold Killer.
Now, determined detectives will have to trace the ballistics to track down their shooter.
We are all hands on deck.
Targeted for murder. Next on True Crime Network.
Eli Weaver does not follow the rules of his Amish sect. He has multiple affairs and even leaves his family twice. But when he begs forgiveness from his church, he's welcomed back. Barbara Weaver states she's not afraid of her philandering husband, but she is afraid of his girlfriends. Soon afterward, she is found shot to death in her bed. Barbara Raber, Eli's longtime affair, admits to sneaking in the Weaver house the night of the murder with the intent to scare Barbara Weaver.
In her first unrecorded statement, she mentioned walking down the hallway towards the bedroom and seeing somebody sit up on the couch, which the only way she could have known that is if she was in the house. That was one of the relatives' children spending the night on the couch.
But then, according to Barbara Raber, a terrible mistake happens.
Barbara Raber claimed that she just went in to scare Barbara Weaver and the gun accidentally went off.
But authorities find Barbara Raber's accidental shooting story improbable. The texts police have seen between Barbara Raber and Eli show a cold-blooded killing, orchestrated by Eli and carried out by Barbara Raber.
I remember some of the text messages from the night of the murder, her telling Eli, I think it's like 3:30 in the morning, she's scared, she didn't know she could get through with it, how is she going to get in the house, where should she park, him explaining that the basement door is open, there's a flashlight there for her. She was looking for him to give her strength to pull this off, and he was willing to keep pushing her and giving her the information, giving her the incentive, the encouragement to go in the house and do what she did.
And she felt like she just had to do it because she was doing it for him.
Barbara Raber appears to be someone who Eli Weaver could easily manipulate. She shows herself to be a supporter who is always there for Eli. Maybe even when it comes to helping Eli plan his wife's murder. As Barbara Raber writes in a text, quote,
is arrested. They have a search warrant and they go in to search her house. It's kind of tough because she was a hoarder. It was so bad that it was mentioned twice at her trial, how difficult it was to search her house. They found a laptop that she had sort of hidden, and they found that she had searched 841 times for poisons using searches such as quickest way to kill a person or easiest way to kill somebody.
Police learned that a few weeks before the murder, possibly inspired by Barbara Raber's research on poison, Eli tries to kill his wife, Barbara Weaver, himself.
She took a sip and she knew instantly something was wrong and she spit it out. And she asked him, Eli, what was in this? And he said it was sleeping pills. He was trying to kill himself. But I think she knew. She wasn't that stupid that she wouldn't have known that he was actually meaning for her to drink it.
Even after the incident, his wife, Barbara Weaver, stays with Eli.
It's a sacred thing among the Amish that you stay in your marriage and you work things out. You don't just leave. It's not an option to divorce.
After his failed attempt at murder, texts show that Eli encourages Barbara Raber to do the job for him.
He could pretty much just get her to do what he wanted.
And she thought they were going to have a life, and she would do this for him.
Despite Barbara Raber's apparent act of devotion, after the murder, Eli quickly distances himself from her.
The next time that Eli's questioned, he brings up Barb Raber, and he says that she's in love with him, crushing on him, and that she might have killed his wife, and she wants him herself.
On August 17, 2009, Eli Weaver agrees to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit murder. As part of the plea deal, he promises to testify for the prosecution at Barbara Raber's murder trial.
Eli really didn't care what happened to Barb Raber in all of this. He was throwing up the wolves.
Eli saw everybody around him as sort of supporting actors in the play or the movie of Eli Weaver's life.
Barbara Raber, however, doesn't want a deal. She wants to go to trial and have her day in court.
She wants a trial because she believes she can prove she's innocent.
The Barbara Raber murder trial gets underway on September 16, 2009. Gun store owner Larry Miller takes the stand and testifies that the defendant Barbara Raber purchases a 410 on November 15, 2008. David Weaver describes the message he left at Barbara Raber's request on the community phone that attempts to confuse police about the shooting.
He just said that's the kind of thing you do for a friend.
David Weaver also mentions that he lends Barbara Raber a 410 gauge shotgun in the past that she never returns.
Her attorney worked very hard to propose a different scenario, and that is that Barb Raber was never at the house, or she was at the house and in front of the gun.
Defense proposes that Barbara Weaver is murdered by her husband Eli Weaver before he even leaves for the fishing trip just after 3 a.m.
The medical examiner said she'd been dead a few hours when her son found her, and they narrowed it to, I believe, between 1 and 7 o'clock in the morning.
This timeline gives Eli ample opportunity to kill his wife before he leaves the house early that morning. In addition to the shotgun wound, Barbara's body has unexplained contusions, scratches, and bruising. Defense argues Eli is a murderer trying to frame his girlfriend, Barbara Raber.
What worked in her defense is that they couldn't show that Barb Raber had ever been in that house. Not one fingerprint, not one trace of anything else. It was as if nobody had been in that house except Eli and his kids.
Eli Weaver has motive and opportunity, and so does Barbara Raber. Although prosecution has no murder weapon, no fingerprints, and no sign of forced entry.
She had several different versions of what happened that were inconsistent with each other, inconsistent with the evidence, too. In her initial interview with law enforcement, Barb Raber claimed that she just went in to scare Barbara Weaver and the gun accidentally went off. But then she later claimed she was never in the house.
following testimony from the medical examiner and several police officers. And with the case hanging in the balance, a surprising witness takes the stand.
You should never be using traditional laundry detergent. Chances are you're buying a lot of water. And don't even get me started on the plastic. Instead, join the many other people who have already switched to EarthBreeze Eco Sheets. These are dissolvable detergent sheets that go in your machine's tub or drawer, and they dissolve in the cycle to clean your clothes. Plus, EarthBreeze's packaging is sleek, so it fits anywhere. And there's no plastic jugs. So it's time to make the switch at earthbreeze.com.
Many probiotics don't survive digestion. That means whatever you're taking for your gut probably isn't getting where it needs to go. Seeds DSO1 Daily Symbiotic is the 2-in-1 prebiotic and probiotic engineered to survive, bringing live bacteria all the way down to the colon, or to healthy digestive, skin, heart, and immune system. Get started today with Seeds DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. Visit seed.com to order now.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason.